Paul, thank you very much for being here today. Pleasure to speak to you. We just had fantastic day of event, 150 decision makers here in Abu Dhabi. But before we go there, can you tell our audience about Affinius Capital? What do you guys do?
Be delighted to. Thanks ever so much for asking. So we're a bit of a hybrid. We're an investor, developer, manager. We have about $65 billion gross assets under management worldwide. We look after third-party capital in real estate, in all its forms, equity, credit, throughout this capital stack and throughout the risk spectrum. So it's very much a medium-sized but global player. So that's kind of essentially what we do. We pride ourselves on having what we would call a strong moral compass. Affinius Capital is the brand that we changed to about 2.5, 3 years ago.
Right.
We used to be known as USAA Real Estate, and then we bought the rest of Square Mile Capital, that was also a very well-known brand, and we turned ourselves after an MBO in 2021 to Affinius Capital. So it was almost like a double rebrand. So people are going, Affinius? So that's who we are.
Very nice. Now, while some people just came here for the first event in Abu Dhabi, some other people have been coming here for the last couple of years to raise funds, to understand the market. You have been around for 3 decades, so you know the market inside out. Tell us how do you see the last few years, the change in the marketplace and in the relationships in the region?
So I think setting aside COVID, because it was awfully difficult to come to and from the region in COVID, I think what has been astonishing for me has been the continued professionalization of the underwriting, the proliferation of the sources of capital, the proliferation of a new generation of decision makers in the region, from the region, continuing to invest worldwide. That common denominator of investing liquidity generated from resource-based economies worldwide, that still stays the same, but the number of institutions that are doing it has changed, whether they're sovereigns, but particularly family offices, other institutions, insurance companies, pension funds. That has increased exponentially over the last few years. Whether they come from Kuwait, Saudi, the UAE, where we are here in this wonderful hotel, that is something that has been a continual source of growth for our business and for others. And if I compare and contrast this with the 90s, as I say, we're in this magnificent hotel. Beforehand, you didn't really have the infrastructure. So yes, it's relationship-based, but the quality of the decision-making has, together with the sophistication of the market, constantly improved over the years.
When you look at your experience and building relationship with those that trust Affinius and you with their money, what are the key elements that you have in your process of raising funds and your organization that you think that make them choose your organization over others' opportunities?
It's a really good question, and it's, I suppose it starts and ends with trust to lose and hard to build up. And so that in our business, it's based on performance, it's based on track record, it's based on personal relationships. You have to work at all those 3 things all day, every day. Very transparent reporting, no loose ends, no nasty surprises. It's, service quality has a number of attributes in the business, particularly when you're asking people to invest with you cross-border, cross-continent, whether it's in the US or in Europe. These are elements that you have to have in order to be able to raise capital successfully. It's very, very important. And I think, as I say, starts and ends with trust, but trust is built on different elements of service quality. Those are the highlights which I've given. Very interesting.
A final question. You had seen so much in the last decades. If you had to draw a future for the region, how the future looks like?
I think you're going to continue to see people relocate to the region, financial service companies having an expanded presence in the region. I think you're going to see continued sophistication of the regulatory authorities, whether that affects capital raising or fund placement. Do I see consolidation within these different regulatory frameworks within the GCC? Probably not. I think there are cultural and historical reasons why that won't be the case. You have a series of markets here. I think you'll see a continuation of infrastructure being built, a welcoming culture for those who want to relocate here. I think you'll continue to see, for a number of demographic-driven reasons, people shifting assets abroad, liquidity that they're generating abroad in real assets, going to Europe, going to the States, going to Asia, the UK, and so on. That will continue. So I think it's to an extent more of the recent past. Do I see any dangers? Real estate goes in cycles, right? So we saw it with the froth in Dubai back in a decade or so ago. We start to hear we see it in certain sectors of the market. We have to be careful of our own hubris in real assets on the private side. But I think given the acceptance of technology here, given the acceptance of the need for transparency here, those dangers are more manageable now than they have ever been from this region in the past.
Gave us a lot of things to think about. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.